right, so here we go. Yay! It's my last sermon of the year. Woo! I just start next week, so it doesn't mean anything other than. So today, are you ready for a new year? And so, you know, it's so funny this time of year. This is a week that most ministers take off, to be honest. There's usually a other speaker that comes in, but I like doing this talk. I like doing this talk every year because I believe that at the core of what we are trying to do here is to live intentionally. What we are trying to do is to be intentional and conscious about how we are in the world, how we are in this life. And we know that when we do that, we have an opportunity to create what we want. We have an opportunity to let go of those things that don't serve us. But we can't do it if we're not intentional. So that's why I like doing this. And this week is such a strange week. Do you feel that? It's like, you know, you don't know what day it is, and time gets really weird, because maybe we're working a little, and maybe we're not. And I kept waking up, like, out of a deep sleep going, oh, is it Sunday? Because I wasn't prepared. And then there's like, oh, it's only Thursday. And I was like, is it Sunday? You know, and then I was like, no, it's Saturday. Okay, good. Okay, I'm good. And then this morning, of course, I woke up at 5 o'clock and was like, it's Sunday. You know, like, it's really Sunday. I'm up and we're going. So I don't know if you have that experience, but it's just such a very strange time as we navigate the time between these holidays. But it gives us an opportunity to get out of our rut, right? To get out of our regular rhythm, and there's a blessing in it for us because we can use this time to be intentional about closing things up for 2018 and setting some intentions and awakening to the possibilities and the great opportunities we have for 2019. And so that's what I'm encouraging us to do, is to get ready, right? To get ready. This is a period of time that is really great for cleaning out. We've just gotten a lot of new stuff. I hope all your Christmas dreams came true today. Mine did. I had a really lovely Christmas. A lot of life happens this week in my family, but on all fronts. But so it's a time where we kind of get some new stuff, right? You get some new stuff? Anybody get something new and fun? You're all like, no? Did you not get Santa to come to your house? It seems like, okay. So it's a time of cleaning up, right? Like letting go of those things that no longer serve you and welcoming the new stuff. I know Christmas isn't about stuff, but we usually get some good things, you know. So there's some new things to put in. There's the thinking about putting away the Christmas decorations and clearing out and getting ready for the new year. It's a time of rest and rejuvenation. I don't know about you, but it was pretty stressful getting ready for the holiday. Those last couple of weeks we're running around like crazy and there's just a lot of doing this at this time of year. So this is often a week where we get to just rest and rejuvenate, hopefully, you know, spend some time doing that, and in the process preparing for the new year. And so I'll admit that there are times when this time of year comes around and maybe I don't personally get the rest and rejuvenation that maybe I need, you know. And so when it comes time to cleaning up the Christmas decorations, instead of doing my meticulous folding of the Christmas lights back and forth so they're easy to unfold next year, sometimes I go like this. Close it, put it up in the attic. Here you go, honey, here you go, you know, taking the, you know, all the bulbs in there and just throwing them in and putting them away. And I think of that as the analogy of what happens when we don't consciously look at closing out the year. When we don't consciously look at what has happened in this period of time and come to a peace with it, or a realization of what we've gone through in this year, then we're just literally throwing our year in a bucket and throwing it away. And think about what it's going to be like on Thanksgiving weekend, because I do it on Thanksgiving weekend, where I make my husband take everything down and we start to open it up to get ready for the next year and decorate. What's that going to be like, right? Get the picture? And so that's the same thing in our lives, because when we don't come to a conscious understanding or relationship to the life we have lived, then it just, we stuff it, right? And it becomes a mess, and no one's going to go in there and organize our stuff for us. No one's going to sneak up into my attic, as much as I wish they would, to organize my Christmas decorations, or as I spent 2 hours yesterday organizing my office. I am proud to say, at home, I can walk into my office now. I can't necessarily do anything in it, but I can walk in there, so it's a start, you know? And so that's what we're trying to do now, is to prepare ourselves to get ready for a new year. I thought we'd do a mini review of our life and just look and see what it is that we're wanting to let go of. So we're going to do a burning bowl ritual at the end of service, so I'll talk about that kind of at the end of my talk today. But we have an opportunity to let go. We have an opportunity to be conscious and awake in this moment. Because without making a conscious effort, what happens is that we're bound to just repeat it, right? We are bound to get in that rut and just keep going on the trajectory that we're on. And you can see that in our asleepness, that's a word, it really is, look it up, just kidding. That in our asleep, that we are bound to recreate the chaos or the difficulty or the challenge that we've already experienced. And then you end up living either in a rut or worse, heading straight for that brick wall in our life. And that's what we don't want to do, because we are conscious creative beings. And as conscious creative beings, we have an amazing opportunity. And so I love that any day can be the new day, right? Any day in the year can be a new day. You can start over, you can do your own burning bowl any day, anytime. I particularly like Tuesdays for start-overs. People like Sundays and Mondays. I actually like Tuesdays or my Mondays. So I like starting over on Tuesdays. But the thing is this, not often, how many days a year is there actually a countdown with Swarovski crystals of a ball that falls down to count down the new start, right? We don't have that on any other day except for New Year's. So there's a conscious awareness that yes, we get to start a new day, a new now, in that moment. And so we have an opportunity to join in collective consciousness, right? The group mind, to begin again. So I came across something this week in my, let's call it, well, I was trying to come up with a word for it. I found something on Facebook that really spoke to me about how to do this. And it's an Apache prayer that I'm going to share with you. And what I'm going to do in my craziness here is go through the whole thing first, and then we'll go back and go through it again. So this is the prayer. Looking behind, I'm filled with gratitude. Looking forward, I'm filled with vision. Looking upwards, I'm filled with strength. Looking within, I discover peace. So I thought that we could use this to talk about, to do our life review this year, and then get prepared for next year. So I'm going to go backwards here. Are they going to go away? Oh, they go away. Look at that. Okay. All right. So, looking behind, I'm filled with gratitude. What was this year like for you? Everybody, let's take a breath first. What was this year like for you? Was it a great year? Did you have unforeseen blessings drop in your lap this year? Did something miraculous and magical happen in your experience that you could never even imagine it? Did you start a new project? Did you make a new friend? Did you find a new love? Were your relationships deepened this year? Was it a great year for you? Or was it a challenging year for you? Was this year really hard for you? Did you have tumult and chaos in your relationships? Did you maybe have some difficulty in your work life? In your prosperity or your abundance? Was it a challenge? Did you lose a beloved? What kind of year was it for you? Because for most of us, it's both. For most everyone, it's a combination. There's a whole heck of a lot of life that's happening. Even, like I said, even in this one little week in my experience, I had great highs and great lows and everything in between. I had people who were mad at me. We lost our cat. But I had a connection with a friend that filled my heart. I had someone reach out to me who hasn't reached out to me in 5 years. I had so much life. We laughed harder than I've laughed forever. And I'm missing my family who's on the other side of the country greatly. There's a whole lot of life, and that was 6 days, right? So I can only imagine what your year was like. What was this year like for you? Can you stretch wide enough to hold all of it? To hold all of it as life unfolding. So the goal here is to be grateful. to be grateful for what happened this year, to look back, and as we put a lid on 2018, that we can do it with some gratitude. That we can consciously see how whatever happened to us in this year was supporting us. Again, one of the themes of my message is always that life is for you, that you're not alone. That we may feel like it's us against the world and life is there, out to get us, and we gotta protect yourself. That's how most people operate and navigate this life, but that's not the truth. Life is here for your growth, for your expansion, and for your good. And we have to allow that. And in order to do that, we need to open our eyes, develop what I call spiritual sight. We need to look and see through the pain, through the challenge, through the difficulty, through the experience of thinking that someone's out to get us, or that that we're being held back, or that someone's just there to make us crazy, or whatever the beliefs are that we hold about our challenges, and realize that it's there for us to grow. That it's there for us, And so can you find a little bit of gratitude for the challenges and the experiences that you've gone through? Can you look back and see that there was something there for you? Ernest Holmes, the founder of religious science, says that life is an adventure in which we never know what is going to happen, just beyond a turn of the road. But too often our today is filled with regrets over the past. If we could convince ourselves that the limitations of the past need not be carried into the future, what a happy outlook we should have. Now again, we don't have to carry it with us into the future if we can be in relationship with it enough to be grateful for it. Even the pain, even the difficulty, even the challenge, because in that, something revealed itself to you. So even if it's just that, even if it's as simple as, you know what, been there, done that, not doing that again. Ever get that one? I get that one, right? Or I can be grateful that I was alive, that I got to be here and experience XYZ, fill in the blank. All of us have challenges. All of us have difficulties that come up. But the goal of that is, the reason for it is to remind us, to push us, to expand us, to stretch us into a place of realizing that we're not alone. To realize that something greater is happening here. We're stronger than we know. We're smarter than we think. We are more capable of compassion and love than you could ever even imagine. And forgiveness. So can we be grateful? Can you look back on 2018 and be grateful? Even if it's just that we had a breath, we could take a breath, and that we are ending the year as we started alive, that's a start. That's the gift. The second one here is looking forward. I'm filled with vision. So this is the time of year that so many people make resolutions. I was driving in this morning listening to the radio, and they were already talking about, Martha Stewart was on, talking about resolutions, and she's on my side. She's like, I don't make resolutions, because by the 15th of January, and I'm being generous with that. By the 15th of January, most resolutions are out the window, right? I'm not going to eat sugar, I'm going to work out every day, I'm going to call my mother every week, I'm going to do all those things I'm supposed to do, and make a resolution to do it. As soon as you make a resolution, what I do is the next 10 minutes, I'm like, there's cookies. So resolutions aren't the most powerful way to go on this. But I do believe in vision. Can you create the vision for your life in 2019? Proverbs teaches us, without vision the people perish, right? And Michael Beckwith says that pain pushes until vision pulls. Vision pulls us. When you are connected to the vision of what your life could be, you are inspired. That's where inspiration lives. That's where self-discipline lives, by the way. Self-discipline does not live in resolutions. Self-discipline lives from that place of vision, because we see that what we commit to here can create. What we affirm for ourselves can become. So the most important first thing we can do this year is create a vision for what's possible. And so by vision, I'm not talking about the form of it, right? I'm not talking about, let's see, the red Mercedes with the, I don't even know what to say, convertible, blah, 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 right? Or the blonde, tan, amazing, fill in the blank, man, woman, whatever. Jason Momoa showing up at church on Sunday morning. I'm not talking about that. Okay, sorry, I had to go there for a second for a minute. Yeah. It's not about the form. What it is about the experience of it, right? So what does freedom feel like in your finances this year? What does peace feel like in your relationship with yourself? What does true compassion and love feel like with your children or your extended family? What does creativity and joy feel like in the work that you do? That's the vision that we're creating. It's not about the thing. It's not about what it looks like. It's what the experience is. Because that's God in action for you. That's opening up to allow that divine idea of what's possible for you. Vision is steeped in possibility, not limitations. When we start to try and do planning, and we start to brainstorm about the things that are possible in our life, what happens? Immediately our brain goes to, well, you can't do that because you don't have this, and this is really hard because there's not a lot of room in that field for newness, and we don't have enough money to do this. That's all limitation. But vision is steeped in possibility. Vision is steeped in knowing that there is an infinite resource that wants it for you, that wants you to have what you want. And when we open to that vision and let go of those sense of limitations, it pours itself forth to you. It's thinking in a different way. It's moving out of this worldly, materialistic idea of life and moving into realizing that we are in relationship with something greater than we could ever imagine. And if we use it, if we lean on it, if we allow it, then all of that goodness just shows up in our world. I've seen it over and over and over again. Creating a vision for your life in 2019 is the best thing you could do. And I'm happy to say that we're rolling out all of our new programs and everything next week, but in January we do have our, Beth Haas, our practitioner, is doing our vision board workshop again. And this is not your typical vision board workshop, cut out pictures of things that you want, put them on the board. It's not just that, it's about creating the greater vision and then creating that you want to experience this world, doing that spiritual practice, and then allowing it to reveal itself in your art. And so you have a piece of art that's going to remind you of that vision. And our goal here is not just to come up with something and then put it in the closet and then see at the end of the year how much did I get, right? It's not about that. It's about going back to it constantly during the year and allowing it to expand and allowing it to reveal more of itself. Because when we start with something, we think that I'm thinking so broadly, I'm so open, I'm like so excited about this vision. That you're going to see by June, that's this big compared to what is possible for you. And so we are constantly expanding and allowing ourselves, and that happens with vision. And so next is looking upwards, I am filled with strength. So this is a direct call to deepen our relationship with God. That's all it is. Where are you in your relationship to God? Does God have space in your life? Does God have space in your heart? Do you have a daily practice of meditation, of prayer, of contemplation? How do you connect and commune with the divine of your heart? Because your God in your heart is different than my God in my heart. I know how I connect with the divine. I know what works for me. I know how much time I need to spend, and I know when I'm not doing it. And so does my family. Knows when I'm not doing my practice. But it's painful when I don't do my practice. Because I live so connected to remembering that there's something greater. That when I'm not doing it, it's like a working out, right? It's like the muscles. So we can lean on the divine, and we can depend on the divine, and we can know God deeply. But if we're not doing that daily, if we're not practicing daily, if we're not giving ourselves the gift of connection, of time to remember that there's something greater, then we never work that muscle. And so when those challenging days come, when those curveballs show up in our lives, what happens is we're stuck. We get, knocked over easily. But let me tell you, when you have a deep practice of knowing God as your life, when you have that feeling, and it's a deep feeling for me, but when you are connected in such a way that when that stuff happens, you know something greater's coming in this. As Reverend Sherry says all the time, that she knows that there's a horse in here somewhere. When the story of the little kid who goes into the room that's filled with poop. And everybody's like, oh, what's that? And the little kid's really excited. Why are you so excited? I know there's a pony in here somewhere. This is not much poop. There's got to be a pony somewhere. So you can remember that when the I'm going to say it. John loves when I do this. When the poop comes in your life, you can remember there's a pony there somewhere for you. And that's the divine. That's the divine that shows up for you. That even though things are difficult, you can see through it. You can see and know that you are stronger than this because you have done your work. And as a practitioner, we call that being prayed up. We've prayed up. You pray on the days that are easy, you pray some of the days that are hard, it carries you. That's how we have and live in relationship to God. Again, from Timothy, it says, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear and timidity, but of power, love, and self-discipline." God didn't manifest no weaklings, right? We weren't made to be weak. We were made to be strong. And we are strong when we remember that we live our lives connected to something greater than we are. We need God now. So the question is, how has your relationship to God been this year? Have you welcomed God into your heart? Have you spent time together? Have you allowed the infinite wisdom to speak to you, to guide you? Have you allowed that feeling of love? Because God is the lover. God is the lover of your soul. It has loved you so long and so much it created you out of nothing and gave you eternal life. We think that this life is just what it is, right? But we have ever been alive and we ever will be alive in all of these different emanations. You were so precious. Your individual gift that you are is so precious that you were created. And so have you allowed that lover of your soul some time in your life? And if not, I encourage you to set some intentions to do that in this next year. And lastly, looking within, I discovered peace. This is one that I think is really important for us to remember. Because we are so used to looking outside of ourselves for affirmation. We are so used to looking outside to get the love that we crave in our hearts. We're so used to looking outside for approval. We're so used to looking outside to have the experience or the affirmation of our success. And it has nothing to do with anything outside of ourselves but us. None of those things can be found outside of who we are. None of those things. Love, acceptance, approval, none of it happens outside of us. It's all a reflection of how we are with ourselves. And one of the things that has been so frustrating and really sad for me over the years in ministry is that so many people within their own minds are so unsafe. That the least safe place for us sometimes is in our own minds. That we are so judgmental, we are so hard on ourselves, we are so critical, we are so tough that it's not a safe space in our own mind and our own hearts. And you can see that it's a bit of an epidemic out in the world because there are so many things to keep us from being alone, from being with ourselves. We've got, never mind, in the old days it was just our TV, and then it was our TV and our computer, and then we got handheld devices to keep ourselves occupied, I was one of those people who were shopping last minute in all those stores. I was one, I'll admit it. And in line at the stores, in these long lines in the Christmas craziness, I build community wherever I am, right? So I'm the crazy lady who's online talking to you about, oh, what'd you get that for your granddaughter? Is that for your grandkids? Oh, how did you find what you needed? And a couple times people thought I worked at the store. It's like, I'm just trying to be nice, because we're all in this together. We're all in this together, If I'm online at Barnes & Noble, half-hour line, twice I did that last week, And it was just interesting to me because they were all like this, And it's because we cannot be with ourselves. And so, are we able to move through the challenging, difficult jungle of our mind to get to the place of our hearts, to find the peace? Because that's where it lives. If we can be with ourselves, that's why the meditation practice is so important. That's why opening to visioning and being part of the greater idea for your life is really important, because we can get to that place. You can get through the jungle and the difficult challenge of our minds into the space of our hearts and sit there in the peace and in knowing you are perfect just as you are. Nothing needs to be fixed. Nothing needs to be changed. Can you find a place where that's true for you? I guess the question is, did you find a place where that's true for you this year? And if not, let's set the intention to find that this year. Because you deserve that. You deserve to realize how loved you are. You deserve to realize how much potential and possibility that you have. And you deserve to know that everything is okay for you just as it is, and just as you are. And there are forces beyond your imagination that want so badly to support you, to love you, to guide you, to give you all that you need to live this full life. My goal for us is that in 2019, this is the year we step out of that. We take off those clothes that bind us, any sense of limitation, and we step into the true nature of who we are. Because that's when we create miracles. That's when we create amazing opportunities and experiences for ourselves and for everybody around us. By one person stepping into their power alights the inspiration for everybody in their circle to do it. And then that alights the inspiration for everybody in their circle to do it. And then they tell two friends, and they tell two friends. Remember that commercial? And they tell two friends. And then we're all in the light. Because we're all shining the light. That's our goal here. Is for 2019 to be a year of light. Wherever I went on that one. It's not on here, so who knows where I am. So again, we ask, how have you been with yourself this year? And can you make an intention to be present with yourself in a more loving, in a more compassionate, in a more powerful way this year? Is it something that is important to you to allow this year to be the year? To be the year that you step out in a new way. To be the year that you welcome great joy. To be the year where you let go of all of that junk that you've been carrying for years. Let's leave it all in 2018 and start 2019 fresh and open and ready. That's the goal of what we're trying to do today. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a burning bowl ritual, and these are really, it's wonderful. It's an ancient ritual of release and surrender. So I thought I'd tell you a little bit about a burning bowl. So when it's time to clear out unwanted memories and conditions from our lives, a burning bowl ritual offers a sacred and powerful way to release negativity. So the burning bowl makes space for new beginnings, and as I said, it can be done at any time, but we like doing it, like I said, Swarovski crystals coming down in New York City in Times Square. Let's count it down and do it then. So the purpose of the ceremony is to shift consciousness. It's about becoming still, naming what you want to release and letting it go. And when we let go, we let God in, and we start to experience freedom. So this is how it's going to work. In your program, you've got 2 pieces of paper. You have a piece of paper, and if you don't have a program, our ushers have them. You just need to raise your hand, and they'll deliver one to you. There's a half sheet of paper that says, I release all that which no longer serves me or blocks me from the fulfillment of my potential, and this includes. And so what I'm going to have you do for during the rest of the service until the end is up here in the front, over here on the right, is I want you to just write down what it is that you're ready to let go of. It could be, and this has to be meaningful to you. No one's going to read it. Whatever it means to you. Limitation, being, I don't know, whatever it is for you that you want to let go of. And you just want to write it down. Because the process happens when we start to put pen to paper. And so for years, the Native Americans did burning rituals to allow that smoke to go up to the heavens, right? To allow what we're letting go to be recycled, not reused, but recycled in a way that the opening to the Great Spirit to come in and support it. Now, we don't have that necessarily belief of, heaven, earth, and all of that. But there's something about the act of writing down what you want to release and then watching it go. So after service, what we're going to do is we'll line up. We're going to go through the rest of service, but we'll go out the side door. Instead of doing the welcome line today, we're going to go out the side door, and we have our little altar set up on the side. And you'll be able to, one at a time, burn your paper and put it in our pot there. And so I encourage you, if you're feeling it, to create an affirmation of release. I'm letting this go and not welcoming it back. I open to the possibilities and the joy of this new year. Whatever that affirmation is for you. And so that's the first page. The second page is this. We have so don't write yet, so look at me first. I know, I'm so bossy. Sorry. Wait till I'm done and then you can write. So the second page is this. It's our intentions for 2019. And so what we do with this is that I encourage you in this next couple of days, this next week, to take some time to make some intentions of what it is you want to welcome. What is it that you want to make space for? What is it that you're wanting to experience in this year? And then you can bring it back in a self-addressed stamped envelope, and we put it on our prayer table. Our practitioners pray over it all year, and then we put them and mail them back to you in the week between Christmas and New Year's this year. Anybody get their letter yet? We mailed them. Yeah. How did that work for you? Well, your intentions are good ones, right? Yeah, see? So this is an amazing thing to do. So I encourage you to do your letter this week for yourself, your intentions. Bring it back next Sunday, and we'll put them on our prayer. Okay, so, again, Ernest Holmes says this. If we disconnect ourselves from the past and find ourselves firmly rooted in God, in love and hope, in joyful expectancy, and in grateful acknowledgement, and if we learn to harmonize with everything that transpires today, tomorrow will blossom like a new flower in our experience. A new year is dawning. We have a great opportunity. I encourage us to let go and burn away that which no longer serves us and open to that divine creative force that wants only our good. It's time to step forward. It's time to shine. Happy New Year, everybody.